The 2026 World Cup kicks off in less than a week. 48 teams, 3 host nations, 104 matches, and only 1 trophy waiting in New York on July 19th. We've run the numbers, we've analyzed the bookmakers, dissected the expert predictions, and studied the squads, the history, and the form. Out of the 48 nations stepping onto the pitch, only 5 stand above the rest. 5 nations who, according to every professional who studies this game, have a genuine, undeniable chance of lifting that gold. This is who they are. This is exactly why they can win it. And most importantly, this is the one terrifying question none of them can answer. Who actually handles the pressure when it matters most? Let's tear up the script and start with the sleeping giants. Brazil. They've won 5 World Cups, more than any other nation in the history of the sport. And yet, they haven't touched that trophy since 2002. That is 24 years of absolute agony for a country that treats football not as a game, but as a national identity. But this time, something is genuinely different. Enter Carlo Ancelotti, the most decorated club manager in European history. 5 Champions League titles. When he took charge of Brazil in 2024, the chaos stopped. Suddenly, this wasn't just a collection of brilliant, flashy individuals. They became a unit. They survived the brutal CONMEBOL qualifiers with 8 wins in 12 matches. It wasn't always pretty, but in tournament football, effective always beats pretty. And then there's the attack. This is where Brazil makes your eyes light up. Vinicius Jr. at Real Madrid is arguably the most dangerous, terrifying attacker in world football. His explosive pace in the wide-open spaces of American stadiums is a nightmare for defenders. Add Rafinha's relentless consistency on the opposite flank, and Alisson Becker commanding the penalty area, they look unstoppable. What Ancelotti has quietly built behind the scenes is a tactical safety net. Historically, Brazil's downfall at the World Cup hasn't been a lack of magic up front. It's been getting caught completely exposed on the counterattack during high-stakes knockout games. By fixing their transition defense and relying on the rock-solid partnership of Gabriel and Eder Militão, Brazil no longer has to outscore their problems. They can suffocate games. And if an opponent does manage to breach that backline, they still have to beat Alisson Becker, who remains a psychological wall in one-on-one situations. But there is a catch. Defensively, the wing-back positions are a massive question mark. And the elephant in the room? Neymar. Barely playing competitive football since late 2023, he is fighting just to be fit. If he is even at 70%, he changes everything. If he isn't, Brazil loses their ultimate creator. They haven't come to North America just to participate. They've come to end 24 years of hurt. From a team chasing history to a man fighting time. 41 years old. Let that sink in for a second. Cristiano Ronaldo, 5 Ballon d'Or. The all-time leading scorer in international history. He is walking out for his 6th World Cup. No outfield player in history has ever done that. He has won everything there is to win in this sport, except this. Portugal has never won a World Cup. Quarter-final exits in Qatar. Quarter-final heartbreak at Euro 2024. But 2026 is completely different. Why? Because paradoxically, this team is no longer built around Cristiano Ronaldo. And that might be exactly what sets them free. Look at the spine of this team. Costa, Diaz, Cancelo, Vitinha, Bernardo Silva. You could remove the most famous player in the history of the sport, and they would still have the strongest starting 11 in the tournament. Bruno Fernandes is the ultimate creator. 20-year-old João Neves is the central midfield metronome. And Ruben Dias is an absolute brick wall at the back. They won the 2025 Nations League by beating Germany and Spain. The defensive solidity is finally there. Under Roberto Martinez, Portugal has evolved from an emotional roller coaster into a cold, calculating tournament machine. Look at how they conquered the 2025 Nations League, grinding through a brutal semi-final against Germany before systematically dismantling Spain's legendary possession game in the final. Martinez has figured out how to rotate this embarrassingly deep squad without losing an ounce of tactical identity. They aren't just winning anymore. They are dominating the tempo of matches, choking out opposition midfields, and proving they have the psychological maturity to survive the ugliest knockout rounds. But there is a heavy shadow hanging over this squad. In July 2025, football lost Diogo Jota in a tragic accident. The grief of losing one of their most crucial players will be in the dressing room, in the tunnel, and on the pitch. But sometimes, grief transforms into the most powerful motivation on earth. This is Ronaldo's last dance. This is where Portugal finally tries to shatter their quarter-final ceiling. Now, let's talk about the artist of the tournament. If you ask any professional analyst who plays the best football in the world right now, the answer is unanimous. Spain. They dominated Euro 2024. They humiliated Croatia, Italy, Germany, and France. In the 2026 qualifiers, they went 10 for 10, scoring 36 goals and conceding just 4. They don't just beat you, they make you look confused, disorganized, and completely helpless. And the terrifying part? The face of this destruction is an 18-year-old kid, Lamine Yamal. At 16, he won the Euros. Now he is being hailed as the potential best player on the planet. He plays with a permanent, irrepressible smile because he finds this game genuinely easy. Pair him with the lightning-quick Nico Williams on the left, and you have the most lethal wide partnership in the tournament. Behind them is the engine, Rodri, the 2024 Ballon d'Or winner. When Rodri plays, Spain doesn't lose. It's that simple. But Spain's true secret weapon isn't just what they do with the ball. It's what they do the exact second they lose it. Their counter-pressing under Luis de la Fuente is arguably the most aggressive in modern international history. Pedri and Fabian Ruiz don't give opposing defenders a single second to breathe, trapping teams in their own defensive third for 90 minutes straight. It's the exhausting, claustrophobic style of play that completely drains an opponent's physical and mental energy. By the time the second half rolls around, teams aren't just losing tactical shape, they are completely burnt out. The only vulnerability? They don't play with a traditional striker. Their false nine system relies heavily on midfielders for goals. On a gritty, difficult knockout night, that can backfire. And history says no Spanish team has ever won consecutive major tournaments. But with wonder kids like Yamal and Pedri leading the charge, Spain hasn't cared about history for 2 years. They are the benchmark. Which brings us to the kings defending their throne, Argentina. What happened in Qatar in 2022 was movie script magic. The 3-3 final against France is cemented as the greatest game in tournament history. Lionel Messi, at 35, finally conquered his demons. The image of him with that trophy is burned into football's memory forever. All but. This is 2026. The question isn't if Argentina were great. The question is if they can do it again. Messi is now 38. He hasn't played a full competitive European season since leaving PSG. Can his legs handle 6 grueling weeks of international tournament pressure? Even his biggest fans are nervously asking that question. Angel Di Maria is gone. The squad is older. And let's be honest, this team's identity is forged in pure, unadulterated grit. While the world watches Messi, the dirty work is done by absolute pit bulls in the midfield. Rodrigo de Paul and Alexis Mac Allister provide a relentless work rate that shields the aging backline, while Julian Alvarez acts as the first line of defense, pressuring opposing center backs into fatal mistakes. This fierce, combative mentality means that even on nights when the tactical plan fails, Argentina can simply outfight, outmuscle, and outlast anyone on the pitch. They are defending champions for a reason. They know how to win ugly. And yet, write them off at your own peril. Julian Alvarez is 24 and at the absolute peak of his powers. Enzo Fernandez and Alexis Mac Allister run the midfield like clockwork. Christian Romero and Lisandro Martinez are absolute gladiators at the back. And on the sidelines, Lionel Scaloni, the man who won 2 Copa Americas and a World Cup. He knows exactly how to manage Messi's minutes. Nobody has won back-to-back World Cups since Brazil in 1962. History says it's impossible, but then again, history said Messi would never win it in the first place. And we all know how that ended. But if you want to know who the bookmakers, the algorithms, and the global analysts are betting their houses on, look no further than number 1. France, the final boss of international football. They won it in '98. They won it in 2018. They took Argentina to penalties in 2022. They are, without a single doubt, the most complete team on planet Earth. It all revolves around one man at the peak of his physical prime. Kylian Mbappé, 27 years old, Real Madrid's lethal number 9. His pace is unmatched, his finishing is surgical, and his ability to pull miracles out of thin air is terrifying. But what makes France unfair isn't just Mbappé, it's the depth. Ousmane Dembélé is explosively direct. Michael Olise is the ultimate wild card. A midfield of Camavinga, Rabiot, and Tchouaméni is pure muscle and technique. And a defensive wall of Koundé, Upamecano, and Saliba? Good luck getting past them. The sheer physical profile of this French squad is enough to intimidate opponents before they even step out of the tunnel. From William Saliba's towering presence at the back to Aurélien Tchouaméni's sweeping ability in the midfield, France combines elite technical skill with pure, crushing athleticism. They are a nightmare to defend on set pieces, and they are virtually impossible to break down physically over 120 minutes. When you realize that Didier Deschamps can sub off world-class attackers and replace them with fresh, equally terrifying athletes in the 80-minute, you understand why the bookmakers always put France at the top. They are structurally built to survive a grueling 6-week tournament. Didier Deschamps has built a machine. If a star player gets injured, another world-class superstar just steps off the bench. Yes, Deschamps' conservative tactics can sometimes make this Ferrari of a team look like they're driving in second gear. They underperformed in the last 2 Euros. But here is the chilling truth about France. They don't care about playing beautiful football. They don't need to win every game 3-0. They just need to be the last team standing, and they have the exact formula to do it. 5 legendary stories, 5 undeniable reasons to believe. France, the unstoppable machine. Spain, the beautiful Wonder Kids. Portugal, playing for a legend's final bow. Brazil, fueled by 24 years of redemption. And Argentina, the defending kings, led by a 38-year-old Messi. The experts have made their choices. The odds are locked in. But the beautiful thing about football, it has a habit of ignoring the script entirely. So, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 teams is lifting the trophy on July 19th? Or is there a dark horse we completely missed? Drop your prediction down in the comments right now. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss our next breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one.